And then I share my screen as well. And this one. Okay, but right. So I'm happy that many of you in this course had already find a group yourself. Although I see no project is registered yet, but I think that's common and that's normal. So I want to see by the latest, the end of today, the ideas are registered in the form. And tomorrow we will go through it one by one. And so you find the chapter 1 and chapter 2 and article 1 as a reading material for this lecture. So that is something you will do individually and besides the group work. And you will see, first of all, we need to have a kind of formal look into a formal reference to the term project when you're working in a project. So my question is that, do you know anything that now they cannot be formed as a project?
Can't be formed as a project?
Yeah. Very good. Very good. Like washing your face and brushing is something that it happens repeatedly every day, right? But what else? If there's something, I mean, larger and more related to your work, more related to your study, for example, taking this course, it's actually it's a project. It's not like, right? It's not like thing repeat every time in your life. Of course, if you fail this course, yeah, I'm happy to welcome you next year. But even though next instant of this course wouldn't be different, there are no such a same set of lectures. Next year, I also invite other guest lectures. I have other focus. I have other project. You might work with real customers. So yeah. This not, I mean, thing repeated every time. So a project is something unique, and a project have a clear objective. You know what you want to achieve, right? If like you attending a class, you know you want to, wow, don't tell me you want to get a grade out of the course. So that's not the you know, ultimate goal. You here because you want to get the intended learning outcome. That's why we want the knowledge and skill, right? That's great. Of course, the grade is a proxy of what you can learn. And of course, the project had an output. Now this world is okay, results are driven. Yeah, you can work here, you can work anywhere else, but yeah, the importance that you deliver. Yeah, you have a limited resource, 4 people per group and 12 weeks, right? Yeah, 3 months or 4 months like that. And project requires teamwork. So maybe some of you agree, some of you do not, but at least in this lecture, in this course, we aim at the project with a little bit like more higher level, higher scale with teamwork as part of that. And a project is a complex things. And yes, example of what is a project. Yeah, it's things that I repeat every day, like routine manufacturing of part of a phone, like a chip or a main board or something that you don't have because you have the manufacturing setup. You have a lot of machines and things just repeat on and on time. I have another meeting and I have to cancel it. I have 4 classes at the same time, so I have to cancel some meetings actually. All right. And the point that nowadays is you find more things to be formed as a project than things to be formed as a routine things. And with the intervention of like artificial intelligence, the automation process, many repeated work these days tend to be minimized, and humans or people are directed to a more kind of innovative work. And such things have the uniqueness, the goal, outputs, and yeah, basically you working with a tons of projects in your life.
So one question is that a project is something we have to, doesn't get depends on the kind of. So for example, for you, this lecture is something that repeats every year, but for us it is something unique.
Yeah, that's good. That's good things. Because for me, yeah, let's look at this from my perspective. This course for me is a project that's by its definition, because last year I ran this course differently from this year. I revised my teaching materials. I changed the concept, I changed the exercise, and I have to deal with different people. That's the most important part. So last year I have different stakeholders, different set of students. This year are different. And yeah, so
you have like a PM.
Yeah,
like a project management office.
Exactly.
You revise your KPIs and see and adjust and see how next time we can fix it.
Exactly. So I'm away from everything in my life as a project, and I have really a lot of projects. If you use a travel board, you know, so I have like hundreds of like Kanban boards, and you organize things. I manage this course, like I manage a lot of projects, because like everybody here from a project, maybe you have 8 or 9 to 7 projects, 7 to 9 projects in this course. And then I had to manage all of this. So I need to make sure that you will have certain amount of learning after the projects, right? And then not only this course, I have 2 other courses running at the same time as well. And I teach the different kind of knowledge. Yes. And next year I might run the same thing, but yeah, it's never, you never repeat exactly the same setting, same environments. But like a manufacturer is a bit different. That's a different scene. If you have visit a factory, it's like a lab, because you have a lot of machine and many things have been optimized for performance. And the input is certain, the output is certain. So there are person who running control the whole process. Yeah, they get paid for that, but it's a boring job. Right. So an example of a project. So this is my company 7 years ago. We got a bit money from Google, so Digital News Innovation Fund. That time we have a concept. I just start like you are doing now this day, pitching an idea project. And we start with a very interesting and cool idea, and we develop it further. We pivot several times, and we get to a level that's quite mature enough to start getting money in. We get money from Norwegian Research Council, we get from Innovation Norway, we get from Google's, and yeah, etc. So a few million to go on. But then we did not go very far. Yeah, we have 3 people in a team, and we play for a couple of months, and then we stop. We developed a kind of a platform for hyper local news. We turn every citizens to become a journalist. You use the platform and you report what happens in your corner, what happened around you. And people who live in the same building, in the same corner street, in the same district, in the same commune, for example, they will be updated with what happened around them. And the innovative part is that we introduce a mechanism to validate the news. But not everybody posts any news can be approved there. So that's the key part. And nowadays, if you use some Google, there's a Google News, and Google have a lot of startup like this. So they take the idea and the mechanism from us and implement for their product. And so it was like this, and I don't code anything here, okay? So this one can be created purely by using Figma or Acrobat XD or any kind of like prototyping tools. And you can also do it the same way if you don't want to get your hand dirty with coding. But of course, if you code and you write a website or something, that is even more appreciated. That's part of the evaluation that I will look into the project. But yes, so we run many different kind of tests, not coding at all, to validate our ideas, and we prove that it is needed and the mechanism work. So technically it worked, but many things come into the picture that doesn't bring us go further. And we terminate the project, but we have a lot of lessons learned. And when you talk about projects, well, we can talk about this one by one. So the first thing is the organizations. We need to see like where you're starting, where the project will belong to a certain organizations. Yeah. Either you working for a large company, small company, or freelancer for your own. Yeah, it based on a set of infrastructure, and it have a way of working people in this one. And the development team is everything actually. If you talk about a software development. Well, actually IT is more than software, but I will relate most of my experience and the project here to the software part due to two reasons. First, my background. So I have 20 years of experience teaching and practicing software engineering. And the second thing is that it's the easiest way to demonstrate your learning. You don't need a machine, you don't need like 3D printer, you don't need anything. You only need a laptop, and then you can work on your project. That's why we focus on this. And so yeah, so people have different background. Okay, we see this. I went through the list of the personality test results. So yeah, people have different personality traits, and of course we know you have different skill sets, different background. Some people tend to be more exposing to kind of active role like leaders or managers, and each team also have different way to structure. If you are, if for my Norwegian students, it is a homogeneous group. Almost every team will have a flat structure, so maybe you know that. So everybody have the equal voice, and yeah, but it will be interesting to see how things happen in this class, because you have a diverse background and diverse contour background and experience as well, and that may not be easy to see. And when you form a group, I mean in the lecture 5, it's come a bit late, but yeah, then I will tell you about the group forming theory. That means it takes time. It needs to go through different stages until you get where you can perform. You start by getting to know people in your group, and then you have a phase called a storming phase, where a lot of bad thing happens. And some group just ending in a storming phase, ending up with a statement like, okay, this guy is too difficult to work with. I'm sorry, I have to quit. I changed my group. And yeah, that happens. But for the team that pass this phase, you get to the norming and then performing stage. where you accept the pros and cons of your team members, and yeah, try your best to perform that can leverage everybody's strengths. So that's also part of this group. So I don't say that I will not resolve any individual issue or team issue regarding to this aspect. If you get somebody that difficult to work with, that's not my problem. That is what you are expected to deal with in this course. And you don't get the bad grade because of you have a bad team member. So not that have to clear it. What I focus on here is the project management skills and knowledge and technique and how you apply it to your situations. And in some group, maybe you have chance to apply the conflict management, these kind of things. And I want to see how it is documented in the exams and in the report. And okay, so it's clearly there's a difference between what is called a team with a bunch of people. And I will not talk about this because it makes no sense by talking about this. You will not get it until you're really going through when you're in a good team and when you're in a bad team, and you will actually see this point. But the idea is that a good team is that where a group of people associate and achieve something larger than a summary of individuals. So 1 + 1 should be larger than 2. That's the idea. And it's especially true in software developers, because when related to intellectual work, there's a certain limit. So one person cannot produce a whole complex software. But how you connect each others? Some case 2 people produce even less than 1 person working on that software. Yeah, but some other case are two, and like the Spotify, like Skype, the core team is very small, few people, and they build a whole large scale efficient software. Yeah, okay, this for that idea. So in a project context, we also have these managers. Why we care about the managers? In practice, it's mean a lot. And you feel happy or not is about the relationship with your manager. So this he or she has its own personalities, and they have the way to coordinate, communicate, and control the work that impact us directly, right? And I guess that you can reflect on that in this course when I guess this manager role on the project. And another stakeholders in the project is the customer and users. Anybody can make the differentiation between users and customer?
Customer is your client that you want to build the project for, while the user is kind of end user. Might be a client, and he might not. Yeah, it's excellent. That's exactly the answer for this. And in fact, the customer rarely identical to users. Like Canvas, you are using Canvas, right? So you are the users, but you are not paying for this. It's a USN or even like some other who actually pay for the Canvas. So the requirement, who initiate the requirement, it's not us, not the students, but actually it's the client who order the company to build Canvas, right? So, but even when dealing with the users, there's certain challenges. People often think that just talking to users, we know what we need to do. We know what we want to build, and this is a severe challenge, a severe myth that can cost you the whole project. This is exactly in the opposite side. User often
very much often don't know exactly what they want. And it takes time. It takes a process of requirement extractions and requirement analysis and modeling and specifications until you get to the point you are confident to build the project. And yes, so the user often don't give you enough description of the product. They often speak different language with you. I think some people have the business background here. Maybe they I think really get it. And on the software is demonstrate the job is done. Developing and maintaining a software is more than just demonstrating the functional software. Yeah. So use an example of how interpretation can be different, how the ambiguity can be different. I'm sure I can divide the class into two groups who see this picture in either of is visualizing outcome. So maybe you see the two faces of old people, but maybe you see also these two young people who playing music. You can see either one of these as the first impressions, or maybe you, huh? Or you can see 5 or 6 of them. Yeah. Even though, even you can have like thinking out of the box. So it's a metaphor. You might not see it linked to the requirement, but actually it's a very true reflection of how working with an idea, working with the customers can be. It's even more difficult than this a simple picture. So that's part of the project. That's always the first part of the project. And yeah, so working with the customer is not straightforward. And we differentiate between two kind of projects, two kind of product to build, to develop. One is bespoken and the other is market driven. So bespoken means someone pay you to do what they want. They have a very specific requirement. They have domain specific problems and they know what they want to build. And you build the software, provide a service for a narrow specific set of needs. Market driven, in the other hand, you develop a software or service for a certain market segments for a mass amount of people. Like almost like everything in your mobile phone these days is an example of market driven product. Facebook, Uber, Airbnb, and yeah, this is hurting for a mass amount of people.
I have a question. When you be in a dilemma between your client demanding some requirements and what he wants is actually kind of contradict what the market is going through, and then this dilemma, how should you really respond and react to such a problem? Let's say.
That's very good. These are very practical questions. I faced with this myself and also consulting for my startups. They have this problem. To be honest, in many ways that we need to follow what the customer wanted, especially for the startups. You don't have money, and the client they pay you enough for you to develop your company further in the next 6 months. Without that money, you either have to work on your work for free, hobby work, or and you also in the risk of losing that customer. In most of the situation that I have experienced, we try to cope with first the customer, that's the VIP customer, and try to follow them. But people have a way to pivot to change the direction during when the product is developed, when the business is growing. And so there's no yes or no answer to you. It's a very context aware. But for startup, for new company, the financial benefit is go first. We need the customer to survive and then to grow. And also the customer have their own logic. If there's a need in the market represented by the customer, then you need to think why we want to change away from this need, right? We have to do a certain kind of test. We need to do other way to collect more data to convince that this is the direction to go, but not the other. Yeah, customer always have reasons. Yeah, when they pay money for things, there's always reason for that. But in this project, you will be more working with, of course, you understand, right? That's a market driven. So you come up with your own ideas of the project. Of course, you can think, okay, I work for company ABC and I take exactly that project idea and put it here. I don't know if that share comment, other people in the group agree with that. That also can be the case, but I expect that most of the project here in this course will be a market driven. And yeah, so there are three things important, three constraints plus one, showing by this picture. You have a balance between scope, budget, and time, and also between this is quality. And they have a close relations, right? If you increase the scope, you want to do more, then you need to either take more money, it costs you more, or you take more time to build, right? And that's the constraint with quality. If you want to keep, for example, scope, time, and budget, it means that you need to lower down the quality, and on the other way around. And many questions you can ask to when you want to understand more about the aspects. But yeah, I'll not go through this more detail than this. Well, project management, the theory of project management is mainly about planning. We have a lot about execution and closing as well. But I say 70% of what written in textbook, in literature, is about planning, how you foresee things and how you handle things when it happens. And yeah, I think this is a very true illustration for project managers. Everyone get it to their face, at least several times. Every plan is wrong, but they are useful. So you have your own plan. Of course, you make it, and you will understand when the time pass by and you maintain your plan. Okay, so the definition I don't want to go through, you should read yourself. Why we need project management? Yeah, there's a lot of ideas, a lot of important things here. The project management increase the success rate of your project, and that's documented, well documented in practice, in literature. And it also help you to prepare, help you to execute, help you to close your project more precisely, better, save cost, save time, increase quality. So it have all the positive influence to every single part of the project. Or you know it or not, you will do a certain kind of planning when you do your project. I have never seen anyone who not plan at all in a project either in a very small scale or in a very high scale. So it's not the point to discuss. And who doing the project management? Yeah, of course, project manager, project leader, but as well, everyone in the team. Nowadays, it's very popular to be in a flat structure team, or in agile term, it is called autonomous team. So everyone be proactive and responsible for a certain part of the project, and do many tasks that have the attributes of managing. So you lead and you manage your own parts, and that's how agile team is organized. And of course, if you refer to another scenario, you work, for example, in construction industry, right? This is very, very important to have a formal hierarchy, formal mechanism supported. I have someone help me to fix my house because I have water leak from the roof. That's a project. Clearly, there's a project manager, so they say me that okay, we finish this in 2 weeks, and there's a essential milestone, which is Christmas. We want to get everything done before the Christmas, and it's the 3rd of December, 2 weeks time more, which is the 17th of December. And this is my own project, is that guy project, but for me, it's my own project as well. And I see, okay, 15th of December, still 1 week to Christmas, and I think that's okay. So I think I can control the time, and I agree and I sign the contract with them. Now it's not finished. They're still working on this. This really, really bad things. So many things you cannot control. So that project's supposed to last for 2 weeks. Now it's like more than 2 months. I give like 1 week as a buffer, and now in 2 months still I'm not finished. Yeah, so it happens. Okay, so in a project you have planning, executing, and closings, as I mentioned. But planning for what? So PM book, I know some of you know, that's one of very good reference for taxonomy for knowledge areas in project management. You have the area of knowledge, scope, cost, of course, time, quality, risk. And so we will cover most of the essential ones, especially things related to this course. Tomorrow and next month, and also the last month. So the lecture, the theory lecture here, very much mapped to this knowledge area. And why planning is essential things, but you understand that for any like time or cost, it will only happen when you initiate the concern. You plan for the concern, you execute and control until closing. But as I mentioned, planning is always the central theoretical element. And when you put the picture on together, you see this. Yeah, initiating, planning, managing, closing, and when putting in a software or for IT product, then there's something more specific. I don't talk about construction project management. I don't talk about hardware production management. So what you learn will be very much in the context of software development. And for example, tomorrow we learn about creating work breakdown structure and Gantt chart. And but then I will not talk about it in general. I will try to bring it in the context of agile, of how you develop a software, how you make a work without software for a agile software project. And yeah, also you have the link to this LinkedIn blog that I find very interesting. Why a software project failed, and you should read more about this to get a background on different kind of disasters that can happen to a software project. Yeah, well, it's difficult to find example of a successful project, but it's easy and also easy to remember when we talk about failures. And if you see quickly from this list, many of these related to a bad project management. Now, unrealistic project goal, badly defined requirements, unmanaged risks. So many terms like management and related words. So let's go to follow this. Yeah, and we will talk about like how badly we can define a system requirement, especially requirement on the class tomorrow. So take time to read this slide, and I'll go through the agenda for tomorrow as well. So I suppose that we keep the same setting for tomorrow, right? So we have now around 10 people online. I hope to see you again tomorrow as well. And I try to arrange for you guys. And I hope to see everybody here tomorrow. And good. So, well, I plan to start at 8:15. Anybody have an issue, or you want to start later? You, huh? You would like later? Okay. Okay. So I need to adjust this a bit. Okay. So. Okay, then we can start a bit later. Like 9 from 9 a.m. That's the where we can do. Yeah, I don't plan to talk like 8 hours straight. So anyway.
I still have a problem that I don't have a group.
Oh, okay. Good. Then you write me an email. Can you write me an email right now? Yes. All right. That's a suggestion. I can assign you to group 1. Yes. Someone welcome you to group 1. So sorry, what's your name? Okay, write me email. So I put your name here afterwards. And you won't be in group 1. You won't be in group 1. Okay, so this is the agenda for tomorrow. I changed the time a bit. Let's say we start at 9, okay? And it's going to be a very intensive lecture, and the most important lectures happen tomorrow: scope management and time management. So after that, I don't think we use 2 hours for the exercise, so we shorten a bit. But then after that, I will ask you to work on the exercise, making work without structure and Gantt chart. We string it a bit. On the project idea need to be registered by latest midnight today, okay? And then for tomorrow, we go through and make discussions. And after that, I teach you how to do planning poker. It's the essential technique for collective estimations, used for any kind of estimations. and avoid that you have a big fight in your group or yeah, even break your group. And I suggest that every team already take time to read article 2 and 3 today and tomorrow, because tomorrow I will review the timeline of your presentations. So Wednesday, each group will present what you learned from agile development from either of this article, and we have discussions on that. Okay, that's a simple and small agenda for tomorrow. Any questions so far? Okay, yeah, correct. If anything, any request regarding to group now, you should send an email to me, simply because I cannot process everything at the same time. So I take more time this evening to process this. But I really hope that you take the next hour for group work or for whatever you need to do, because I myself see that's a lot of things need to be done here. So questions? So it's crystal clear to everyone. Doesn't seem so, but luckily we have tomorrow as well. So can you show us? Okay, there's a question about example project from last year. Good. This is a good question from Umia. As I mentioned, every course is a project to me. So this is a very new thing. I did not do this last year, and I don't have an example for you. But I can bring an example of how a project report look like. Not for you for a reference, because I don't have experience with exactly the same requirements, same projects before. But at least you know the level of writing that you might need to reach. And tomorrow I will also review the compulsory assignment 1. No hurry for that. The deadline is in March. Focus more in the forming the project now. Right. Okay. I stop sharing.